Welcome back, everyone. It is the Western Championships and it's the final stage. Yeah, buddy. Why so serious? For the third time of asking for CBL 2025, and every single time, yeah, buddy, us came out on top. All, be it going to Grasslands finales, best of three the first time, best of five the second time. Where are we going for the third time off? Best of five all the way the distance? Or do we think?
I can't really tell it. I would say yes, we will go all the distance. And I mean, Mark, you and
Yeah,
we
buddy.
already know the band, so we will talk in a second about that one. But I would say we will have some interesting matches. Probably a 1-1 at one point. I can't really tell you who will go to a 1-0 first, but I will say 1-1, 2-2, and then Grasslands decide. And I would go with Why So Serious this time around.
Gone against
But
the
I
shift
can't
of
really
the
tell you.
action. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Danko's plan of action going into this one's going to be interesting. Like you said, let's go to the Bannon picks and let's go and discuss that because that's where it could change things. Here we go. Sorry to say it, chat, and I'm sorry to say it, viewers, but we're going to be seeing the same map over and over and over again until we get to Grasslands if we go the distance. However, yeah, but it did ban off Harbour City. And Reginopolis was the ban of Why So Serious, so I was right with one thing at least. And the other thing I said it would be a fort battle, which was right in a way, but it wasn't the fort that I thought it was going to be. It's White Elk Fort, and we're going to see 4 games of it all on that same map. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting one going forward for sure. No Hidden City, no Dasu Fort, none of that I thought was going to be our wall fort. I mean, plan of action changed completely. But speak about the unit bans, unit picks, Alpha. How's that going to change things up here? Because we've already mentioned it as well before we got started here. Is there was a pick of units that we've just seen in the last matchup. Why So Serious were using pretty well.
Oh yeah, we can see the one unit you mentioned, the stalwarts being picked from Wiser Series. They're all the way in the bottom right, so don't get confused. I'm not starting on the left top, but we can see the stalwarts being picked as a really, really strong infantry unit, probably being brought 15 times from both teams because they're good anti-cav, they're good tanking, they have good tanking capabilities, they're dealing damage, they just have everything. The only thing they don't have is backsides protection, but you don't have, you just stack all of them together, they will just wipe everything. Apart from other stalwarts. But then, let's talk it through the bans. We have Yabadi banning Spartans, the one annoying unit we have seen all the way to the end several times, always being ridiculous. But I think one time we had Cope going for 14, 13 Spartans. It didn't really pay off, but in the end, almost all the time Spartans were just incredible. Healing archers being used from Wiser Series in the semifinals, just before, some hours before, are being banned now from Yabadi. They don't want to deal with it. We have seen that ban several times from Yabadi already. And Shenji Grenadiers. Shenji is strong against something like Stalwarts, and they are being banned, but that means something like Phalanx also has a bit easier time to stay in those matches because they can't be killed by Shenji. And then the pick from Yabadi are the Kokos, so the blue counterpart to Shenji with the Kokos dealing fire damage, not the massive amounts of damage like the Shenji, but still dealing decent amounts of damage. And then on the other side, we have just 2 special units and 1 range with the Flames and the Lion Roars being banned, and the Varang as the tier 5, new tier 5 range. And Wiser Series, I think they just wanted to get rid of as many annoying units as possible. And I think the Flame ban coming in first is massive because we have just seen Yabadi pull off crazy things with those Flames.
Yeah, Flames have kept them out of a lot of sticky situations and a lot of difficult tasks. But with that being banned, it's going to be a different change of scenario. They're going to have to deal with stalwarts with somehow, some way, and there's going to be no cavalry ban, which is a good thing, I guess, as a bonus because yeah, but you're pretty good with the use of cavalry flanking and such like because you're going to have players that are just roaming around your city all the time. You're going to have to keep an eye on Amia and you're going to have to keep an eye on Girk because they'll be in your back, especially in a map like White Elk Fort where we've seen them attack it plenty of times, and we've seen multiple very interesting strategies coming up from them two, who decide to go on the other side and use the the artillery on the outskirts against their opposition. So it's like, oh, okay, well, we won't put any pieces down. We'll just make use of your ones that are there. And as you start making your push down them walls, we'll start bombarding you. And if you want to come out and fight us, then feel free, because Gurk and Amya, normally together as a duo, do find a lot of good kills in the background and also distract a lot of players. So it gives you the fight on the inside of this battle for yeah, buddy, the advantage a little bit for the most part. And that's kind of what they're there to do, just be a distraction and be an absolute nuisance, which I'm sure in this 4 series match of White Elk, we're going to see that happening as we do get into that unit pick. And we'll see what units we will be bringing to this battle. Cylinder's being picked along with some Yanya Dolls. You're going to see also phalanx units, thankfully, in this one. Not banned this time round, which could come in handy to deal with any cav. Hence the reason we've not seen really a cav being picked or banned in the grand scheme of things, with phalanx being involved. Obviously, Zykel and militias will be picked, I'm sure, because that was their unit pick going forward. And for the other side, you're going to see a set of units of Queen's Knights across multiple different members here of Why So Serious Alpha. How do you think that'll come into play when it comes to the fights?
Queen's Knights?
Oh, that's the Stalwart. Sorry, that's it looks like the same triangular shield. That's similar, but that's the Stalwarts. My bad. I'll shut my
Yeah,
mouth.
to Star
I
Wars.
literally looked
Yeah,
for a
I was
second
like,
and it
yeah,
looked like
they
a Queen Knight badge, but it's just a Sumachian Stalwarts. But Falconetti Gunners, they've got brought in as well to start off in this defense, because they want to try and deal with either Seashellers early on, at least for the first set. But obviously, there's multiple breaches to be taken down and gateways. So I mean, there's also different revenues into this city, and not just that siege tower.
Oh yes, and I think Falconetti are also great against Stalwarts because they can knock them over, and I think dealing tons of damage. Then I'm still looking forward to see if we will see another trap destruction kind of gameplay from Wiser Series. We have seen that type of gameplay on White Elk before because the traps are just incredibly strong. But I think we will be heading into our finals for the Western Championship here in a few seconds. Having two EU teams, sadly, we have seen them play the third time, or we are seeing them the third time now, but I can't really tell who will take it. And it's starting very quick with a breach destruction on that side, and already, yeah, but he's rotating with full force there.
Yeah, trying to get themselves straight towards that left supply point. The wall goes down, and there we go. It's going to be a quick entry point for the Yeah Buddy roster, looking to try and find opportunities to get inside the city before the defense can even think about a setup. But they're going to bring the units across with the submersion stalwarts doing their job. That's it. Actually, not even the stalwarts unit. That's the shield's different. So that's the stalwarts, and you've got what's the name before they were called
Sergeant with
stalwarts
spear.
again? What was that?
Sergeant with
It was
spear?
you're speaking
Spear
about, yeah,
sergeants?
spear sergeants. That's the word. You were speaking in German there. I was like, is that the German name for it? Maybe it is.
No, no,
But
no.
there we go.
That's the English. Sergeants with spear.
Yeah,
Maybe it was
spear
just.
sergeants. It is. Yeah, spear sergeants. Yeah, it just confused me because you said it the other way around. I was confused. But the fight actually going on here is going to be pretty good in favor of Yeah Buddy, but the heroes are falling quicker on the Yeah Buddy side. Lost to more than Why So Serious at the moment, and there you go. You see it trading back and forward, but it is starting to be captured in the meantime. A wee distraction here in through that breachway. They are losing the battle, but they're getting the point captured. Amu, like I said, doing the work for the flank, just sneaking away around to grab as much as possible. But Why So Serious winning out on that first defense there. Definitely have the advantage in numbers still and hero numbers as it stands. Let's pull up the unit stats to see where we are in terms of battles, deaths, and losses wise, because Why So Serious have the upper hand on the tier 5 unit and a slight deficit on the tier 4 unit. So overall, a pretty even trade there on the grand scheme of things, but does manage to throw Why So Serious and lose a couple of units to start off with. But how is that going to go in the grand scheme of this matchup? We'll just have to wait and see, because now they start to make the use of them siege towers and start to try and get a point up onto the wall if they can. Obviously, all of that artillery is still there for that defense, nothing been taken out yet. Plus, they've still got 14 of their own pieces to use whenever they wish as well. And yeah, but they still have 30 of their own, so they just baited their own ones inside that gate. They're never really actually placed them at that point.
Yeah, and I can see the unit of Falconetti going to the top of the walls here, trying to shoot at the towers. We have seen before the Falconetti doing some nice work to the stalwarts, but they have been taken down a lot, and I think that's only like 4 Falconetti left. Will it be enough? We will see in a few seconds. Travis being called to that cavalry, and that one will be taken down, but their tower is as well. And the other one on the left-hand side of the map is also been taken
The
down.
glaive's going to be picked up here. Hold up. Sorry, Kinji does get eventually picked off there. He came up onto the wall there. By came up on the ladder, but 4 players will deal with him, and he will fall in battle once again. And I feel like there was somebody falling down there. A musket player survives though from Yeah Buddy, thankfully. It's nobody else is to fall in that push. But yeah, Kinji was just a bit too keen to get on that wall on his own.
Oh yeah, and you can now see here, but he's starting to push the right-hand siege tower. You can see it on the minimap being pushed now, and it feels like WSS Series is doing a good job in delaying the time as long as possible. But now, yeah, but he is making a move towards the right side with the heroes. Not with too many units yet, but that might change in a few seconds. As I can already see a big rotation also with units coming in from Yabadi to that side. And you can see the Polex trying to jump into some bit of safety, but he has been hunted. Dualblade to support him. Ripcats is there. Ripcats is usually one of those you don't want to have against you in hero fights, but that one might take the life of both heroes from WSS Series. Ripcats is down. Nolhane is falling after that, and that one just cost 2 lives from WSS Series with nothing being traded back.
Yeah, exactly that. It is a quick 2 hero kills to give them the extra attack and prowess heroes. It depends on how long they're going to be waiting around for, but they've got towards that supply point, at least grab that. And instead, this time, I'm going to take a long way around, pass through home way, get yourself in a good safe hand so that there's not going to be pinched in that center with multiple ways around. You're going towards that back supply point over towards home. Interesting position to be in. Definitely a change of plan and change of scenery for Yeah Buddy, but this is what Dunkel will do. He likes to change things up, make sure that the opponents are always having to guess the plan of action, and they're waiting around on home for now. Wise is probably in a fluster thinking, right, what are we doing here? Where are we going? What point are we having to worry about? Because they're not going to have any eyes on where the opposition are moving. And if they start moving too far up, there we go. His unit's going to be picked off. That mall decides to go towards the stalwarts, and then eventually it will get some eyes there. Ribcat's pushing up with his hero, just trying to check where they have gone. And now they're going to set up artillery from that respawn inside, and that's going to deal some damage. Has it got the range? Is the question. No, it will go towards the supply point, but will it get any further? I doubt very much it will, especially with the trees and some buildings in the way.
You can see Nolhani trying to get through all the heroes from Yabadi, now having to escape. But it feels like he is already losing his second life. And that's, it feels like, exactly a strategy from Yabadi. They're just trying to get one already out of the game. And I don't see why he tried to run through that and not just waited for flank to go in there. And oh my goodness, that's him already being on one last life. He will have to respawn back there once again.
That's very unfortunate. They weren't quick enough to get the second member of Ripcats. Obviously, he's Joe Blade. He could go and viz quickly and get away as well. A little bit easier than Nohan can. But you do see Amia just being that distraction again. He's using his stalwarts, but he will be met by Robert's Maul and Iron Reapers from Litterping, which will deal with the stalwarts relatively quickly. But they're not looking to chase after Amia because they know that's a very difficult task to get. But as that happens, yeah, but he pushed away towards the supply point and they have managed to capture it, but they've baited YSO Series out and already capturing a zone. I'm sure that is Amia once again doing that just work in the background in the position that they're in. It almost looks like, yeah, buddy, on the defensive side, and YSO Series are on the attack here at this point, and that's maybe part of the plan here. If they take A, they're already in a position to fall back to capture a wee bit of home point, and with that A eventually being stopped, it took its time. There we go. 4 players falling from Why So Serious. Too many heroes, to say the least. There, they're down to only 8 players alive. Make that 6. A quick 2 going straight afterwards. We're down to 5. All of a sudden, yeah, buddy, I've got the momentum shifting their way. 12 versus 5. Massive units are pretty similar in terms of like how much is left remaining. 778 versus 762. But the hero battle definitely coming up for yeah, buddy.
Oh yes, and we have seen Yabadi already killing some heroes in the first fight. So why the series? They are down in hero lives, probably a lot of them on their last life now. And that could really hurt them in the end, because they are still on that A point. They are trying to block it, But if they go in aggressive now, that will just take even more lives. Mask Flames just trying to stay on the point, surviving quite a long time with his shield and spear. But then he will be taken down. But that one was just to give his team the time needed to regroup, reset up on the endpoint, and be ready to defend that one.
Yeah, exactly that. I was going to say the exact same thing. He was there just to delay the respawning because we're only down to hero lives of 8, and that's not really what you can defend home point against a full 15 of Yeah Buddy. But now that Yeah Buddy have that supply point, they can quickly get some new units and start making their way towards home point. You can see YSO Series now making their rotation round towards that defensive side by the looks of things. They're down to 14, and maybe it could only be 14. We'll wait and see. Go and pull up the hero stats as well. We actually see how many people are on their final lives, or if Nohan has finally finished his final life as well.
Oh yeah, and we can also see, why the series use the defensive mortars. And now we can see the hero lives. We have at least the first 5 are still on at least on 1 life. We can see Ripka's also being on 1, but
Nohan is
there we
dead.
go. No, Hani. He got
And
picked
he's
off
lost.
3 times.
And he's lost a unit of stalwart still there available. 33 of the units still available of that stalwart you can see there. So that's a unit missing in action. So when you look at the deficit, it is still a little bit more in favor of Yeah Buddy, because 33 of them taken away from 738. That could be potentially a difference maker in this series. But we'll have to wait and see if that's going to be the case. If we set up, Yeah Buddy have plenty of mortars and plenty of opportunities now to set up some artillery and start bombarding the units that are left here from Why So Serious. And with 7 minutes, it's still plenty of time to make sure you can get enough damage done before you decide to make your move towards that home point, as they are already starting to make that move forward with the stalwarts being that frontal force. And that's what we're going to expect throughout this series. Stalwarts leading the charge every single time. We're going to see them leading in front and making sure they are defending everything else that's coming up from behind at the trap. Is going to be baited though, and Barbar in a good position to try and bait all the units over towards them, but they are wise to it, and Wise Series will get out of the way and stay alive. But Kirstander will fall again. I'm sure he was on 2 lives. That'll be his final life as well, I think. And all of a sudden, Wise Series are now with 2 members potentially left out of this battle going into home point.
Oh yes, and you can see Yabadi going for backside flank with 2 heroes, and the rest will step onto the endpoint very soon as you get some distraction in the back. And Yabadi is now making the move towards that endpoint. No trap being called yet, but the mortars are just raining down death from above and far away. The mortars from the defense trying to return some fire, but you can see here Yabadi got a decent amount of ground. Stalwarts now setting up in a long formation, trying to block everything coming from the front side. And with that one, it feels like Yabadi has a bit overextended here, is in quite a bit of trouble, but the Yanyodaos are going in, and they are just wiping the field here and clearing it from Wiser Series heroes and units.
Yeah, the phalanx units finally come in, but the cavalry charge comes right behind that phalanx unit. Just the lower tier cav does deal with some of the units though, but it looks like Why So Serious are at least getting the point cleared for the most part. Still, Stalwarts are staying alive for quite some time here, and they're being buffed by the additional health being regened here from some of the longswords that's been involved in that battle. Dunkies is still there, trying to make sure that the majority of them are staying alive, and they've got plenty of heavy armor classes dealing some damage and just staying alive over on this point, making sure that they don't push towards them, and yeah, but he can reset again. But it's 8 versus 5. Unit wise, it's pretty even once again. Let's pull up unit stats in terms of quality. Let's see where we're at, because we're pretty even on tier 4, and we're a little bit more advantage if you are Yeah Buddy, but not by much.
Yeah, but he's making it here fast. They are taking the ground they get, and they are already once again on that endpoint. I can only see 4 heroes from Wiser Series alive. They might have the unit numbers, but they don't have the heroes. It's only 3 alive left, and that will not last for long. Yeah, but he's taking the point. 11 of them still alive, and Wiser Series, they are just outnumbered here. You can see Atomic coming from the front here, but he is just being picked apart immediately, still having someone next to that point. Here is Wiser Series, Atomic on the point now, but he already lost his Einsights, and he has been taken care. And that's some more respawners coming from the end, but it seems like Yabadi is now for sure taking the victory in this one.
Yeah. Ripcats is one of the only few members that's actually got near the point. He's going to start on top of it, but stops the time for a second. Will eventually fall. Yeah, buddy. Can they withstand the charge? They do. Just a unit to deal with, and that will be the game over with here because the heroes are not going to reach that time. And yeah, buddy, draw first blood. You are in charge so far. A great attacking start from the side. And Dunkies gets his MVP. You've seen how much healing ability he was doing, keeping them stalwarts alive on that point for as long as possible. And with winning all of them hero fights for the most part, they were just absolutely destroying Why So Serious and making sure that they can only come in one for one. And as they were coming in one for one, they were getting picked off one by one. And Dunkies, he gets 70 unit kills along the way. But look at that number there from Assad of Babylon, 171 unit kills against a team like Why So Serious. That's a pretty big amount of numbers. Ups gets the 6 hero kills as well. So he becomes your top killer in the lobby, considering Army was around. That is quite a surprise, to be fair, but well done to them all. That is some solid work, and also 125 unit kills along the way. Cinetic also picking up 155 with Social Hippie not far behind with 128. Also serious on that defensive side, though. Natural picks up your MVP, 162 unit kills, not far behind the leader on the Buddy side. But Nutella gets 111. You've got Robert once again up there in the leaderboard, 127 unit kills. I swear it's them all just doing absolute work. But yeah, hero kills pretty much was in favor of Natural. He got to 4, but nobody else can get over that or anywhere. Well, they got close to it with 3, but nothing major. Let's talk that through though in the post battle analysis because there's definitely a different strategy coming out on the attack with the use of stalwarts being involved.
Oh yeah, and you can see it. Your first fight was great. 4 Series, they were ready. They had the full Conetti to support them infantry units in the front. And with that one, they got a decent amount of units killed from the side of Yabadi. But then the second fight, Yabadi was coming from the back, going towards the supply. They had the artillery in the back. They had Amir stepping on the point, and I felt like was a series were committing a bit too many heroes to the A point, not committing fully on the supply point, and with that one, Amir doing enough distraction to really make that fight in the favor, go out in the favor of Yabadi. And then also endpoint fight in the beginning was kind of decent for Yabadi, but then why the series? They came back, they fought back, but in the end the heroes were just dwindling and were just not there anymore. And with that one, the series was wiped from the point, and I feel like if they would have taken a bit better fight on the supply point, they could have had a chance on that map here.
Yeah, it was a very interesting way of it coming up, but the 16 hero kills difference is definitely a big swing in how that game played out. It was very clever of them to pick off the heroes when they could, and the fact that they picked off Nalhen and then realized, you know what, if we go and block off that supply, we can kill him again for a second time and know for a fact he'll be out of the battle not that long afterwards because he's going to have to respawn again, and he does eventually get picked up as the first player. Few others that were on 2 hero kills before we even got to that home point, or hero death, sorry, should I say, from YSOC. It makes it very difficult to defend up front and close and personal with your unit because you can't afford to die as well. And obviously, the only way to do it, control your unit for the most part, is staying involved with the unit for the most part and being right there in the action. And that's what they couldn't do too much, or else they were losing heroes. But in the end, it still went that way. And yeah, buddy, made sure they've picked off the heroes. But the battles overall we're pretty evenly in terms of trading unit outs back and forward. So I feel like this could be one of these ones where it's going one for one, all the way through to grasslands here. But it is now going to be a Why So Serious on the attacking side here. And what has your buddy got as their defensive strategy now up against what we say is the stalwart, which were a pick from Why So Serious? Will they be able to deal a good wee devastating blow here and actually put them on a back foot here inside their own city, or has your buddy got a strategy to defend?
I I hope why the series know how to attack, because if they lose this one as well, they will not go to a different city. They will not have a complete reset, mental reset possible with a different city where they can just bring new strats. They will go to White Elk a second time. So if they lose attack and defense the first time, it's really looking bad for them. But I could see a really wiser series now in the attack, leading a bit where the fights are going, and hopefully not to overcommitting on some points like the A point there. And with that, taking control of this one and also winning the attack, and then I could see just straight through attack wins.
Yeah, I could see it potentially going that way. We'll just have to wait and see though, because you never know. Yeah, but he has done some good defensive strategies on this. That being said, it is a different change of meta already throughout this whole tournament. Multiple times we've had a different change and different units being involved throughout, which is fantastic to see. But it also means that teams have to adapt on the fly, and a lot of teams can't do that. One of these teams, yeah, buddy, they definitely know how to adapt and change scenarios, knowing very well their units and how to use each of these individual units prior to the battles commencing, making sure that they get the practice in. Well, I so serious have been doing the same, hence the reason they're in this situation, and they've took it to that Western Championship final up against Buddy for the third time, which they'll be hoping that they can finally overcome the Buddy, which is their pretty much their nemesis throughout this whole tournament. It's the only team that they've really had a very difficult task of dealing with, and Buddy has been one of these tasks of teams that you've been difficult to deal with if you're anybody, to be honest, at this stage.
Oh yes, I mean, did Yabadi lose any best of 3 or best of 5? I thought it. Yeah,
Nobody,
Yabadi
nobody.
unbeaten in those series, but at least you can take maps from them. We have seen Wiser series bring it to grasslands in the
ISO
finals
series
of
is the only
new.
team that has done it as well, like taking maps off of them. So that just shows you how close these two compete against one another.
Yeah, and I mean, if you can take one map from Yabadi, you can also take two, and you can just also win it. It's not impossible. It is very hard, and I think Yabadi now being up 1-0 will have a good mental mindset, but why so serious? I don't think they will be down too much. They are a very strategic team. They know how to play, they know how to control their mindset as well, and I don't think that first loss will really affect how they play.
That's the good thing about a best of five is you can have a chance to come back at it. It is the same map though, like you said, there is no reset, there is no change of plan, change of scenario. Both of them picking this map, and the way that that's worked out for Buddy, they know that they can win an attack, right? And that's two of the four games. All they need to do is hold on to one defense, and all of a sudden you've got a scenario in your hands. And this is what they've got next, right? A defense for Buddy. They come out on top of this. Associates has now got to that stage where they're like, right, how do we defend them now? Because we've already been in this situation. They're not going to do the same again, I'm sure. But you just never know if they're working out that well. And it's just whether you don't make the same mistakes a second time round on your defense. And my associates will have to be a little bit more crucial of the like individual heroes and where they're getting picked off, because they can't afford the hero deaths that they did in that first match, because you saw at the end it was left with like 5 6 heroes, but they were just slowly coming alive from that respawn time down, and none of them could get to the point. The only one that was Ripcats, and he got quickly picked off as a light armor class. He can't stay there for long, with too many members of Buddy on that point. So yeah, just keeping an eye on their flanks, keeping an eye on people, just sneakily doing things in the back like what Ami was doing. There's no Girk to deal with. He was benched supposedly, so that you can see that it was just Ami doing it solo this time round, which definitely changed the strategy and changed the plan around. But with Stalwarts being the major front, it was pretty much mostly the picked unit throughout that whole battle that just kept leading the charge and leading the push through. And I assume going into this matchup, we're going to be seeing the same.
Oh yeah, and one thing I can already see are 15 stalwarts on the side of Wiser Series, not 15 yet on the side of Yeah Buddy, and yeah, we'll with Danko picking stalwarts as well. We officially have 30 stalwarts in this battle, and I think that already shows how strong they are.
Oh yeah, 100%. They're definitely very much a pick for a reason. There's so many teams, and today that we've seen them since this update in the buff that they've received, being picked pretty much across the board for most of these heroes. Alongside Willie on the side, men at arms, you're seeing some cavalry here from Why So Serious as well, which we didn't really see too much of that in the first matchup on the attacker side, but Babylon, he's picked 3 units of cavalry too, which are green tier. So he's got the stalwarts and Yanyado as well. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the defense brings here, because most of it is mortars as well. So they're not looking to take it siege towers unless that is what they're about to start changing out now as Culverins start to reappear on the side of the defense. So I assume maybe looking to take tribes out, maybe take out some siege towers. We'll see what the plan of action is, depending on what YSOCs do on their attack. Because we've seen early, yeah, buddy, decided to take down the bridge and go in there quickly towards that supply point.
Oh yeah, and I can kind of see Yabadi once again taking down the siege towers. The trap, sorry. And we have seen Yabadi do that previously. We have seen Yabadi go for a top of the walls defense, just straight at the entrance of the towers. They don't have the flames this time around, so it will be harder to defend that one. But as we can already see the trap flying to the right hand breaches, feels like Wiser Sirius is also going for a rush strategy this time around to the right side. And Yabadi seeing it coming so much. You can just see everyone from Yabadi already rotating to that side. And I can just see Yabadi standing there and being like, hey guys, you want to come in? You can come in. We get free candy, but you will have to pay for it.
Yeah, it's like knock knock. Who's there? We are right here waiting for you. As yeah, buddy, are set up on that supply point, and just to the left hand side now, also the right hand side of that breach. But that might be what YSOCs have planned them to do. Hopefully, make them make a move towards this and have to do the quick rotation. It's not easy to rotate your units around through the inside. A little bit easier to do it on the outskirts, but without the breach going down, it is a bait to try and make sure siege towers can reach the wall. And this one, it's right next to them on that breach side, will start to make it towards the wall, and very unlikely that we're going to see that fall. So at least they'll get some units on top of that wall potentially, and also have a chance to use artillery. Treb being called in no is going to be a little bit far back, trying to aim it towards that supply point, but not far enough to deal with. His units are already on that rotation. Yeah, buddy, giving that up completely and going back to the front of the wall defense where they were originally at, and realizing that Why So Serious are not looking to go in that breach anytime soon. And if they do, it doesn't matter for the whole defensive plan that yeah, buddy, have set up.
Yeah, and I just love to see why the series do this, because you're always talking about rotations and who can rotate faster, and most of the time the defender can just out-rotate the attacker because the attacker has to go outside of
Oh,
the
look
walls.
who's
And you can just
outside.
see two dual blades here outside. Is it Gurk and Amia?
Oh, it's going to
Probably
be
is.
Amia and Pusoy, I think, because Girk isn't there. So it's Girk actually. Girk
Gurk?
is back. Girk is the the defensive operator, and Amia is here as well alongside him. They're doing what they do best and picking off. It's only one piece of artillery to deal with this time, but they're going to be able to go up onto that wall and put in a little bit of pressure from behind. And why so serious are not paying attention to Derevny is going to be the first to fall here. If he doesn't notice, he falls and rolls off the wall in defense. He's like, no, I am not taking that battle against these two dual blades. I'd rather take the fall. And he decides to go that way around. And now Kirk gets use of that mortar and their units on the wall. But it is just a low tier unit. They don't care if they can get some good trades here. Stalwarts coming from behind it, though. And can they win that battle up against the men at arms? I very much doubt the most part that will work out, but they are managing to drop back a little bit. Gurk and Amia will decide to just distract them for a little bit, and a little bit of time wasted, which is always good for your defense.
Oh yeah, but I love also the reaction from Wiser Series, making sure they're picking off every single unit that is being brought by Gurk and Amia, because those two, they have not infinite units, and one unit of Stalwarts is just great to pick off in this current meta. We will probably see Gurk and Amia try to go for the exact same flank once again, with probably Stalwarts and the Rat and Pikemen just the other way around, with the one playing now Stalwarts going for the Rat and Pikes, and you know what's coming next. That,
Yeah, there you
of
go.
course.
There they are already outside, but there we go. You're seeing YSOC pushing down this right stairway, looking to get towards that point. We've got mortars set up top as well, and that's going to deal some damage below of the units of yeah, buddy, on towards that defensive side. And starting to pick a few units, but nothing major for the most part. And look how many stalwarts we're seeing on that wall there. It's just a mass amount of stalwarts constantly rotating around, moving around in a position, just waiting around to find an opportunity to go down. But the anti-artillery from the other side, Gurkanami has gone up on that left-hand side wall again, looking to try and pick a hero if they can, but nobody is on their own. Their units are there close by. And now why so serious? Finally make that push down on towards that A zone. And are they in a position to be able to get on to that point? That is the question. You've got Baltazar inside the gateway. that might not be noticed, and nobody will know that he's going to pinch in from behind unless Ripcats does the job. It's Robert though. Ripcats is there to try and deal with him. He moves his unit into that gateway, and all of a sudden the fight will commence. 1-for-1 in hero kills. Javin will fall in curse, and will also fallen in battle. But as it goes, it's Stalwarts versus Stalwarts. Who is going to have the better opportunity of these Iron Reapers? Because that's what might swing the battle. The Zykaela Militia have been picked off in the back here from Yeah Buddy as well. So that's not going to deal any flame damage. But it looks like Yeah Buddy are on top of this. They're finding the hero kills once again. And why so serious are down to 10? Make that 9.
Oh yeah, and the stalwarts from inside the gate just causing so much damage by just walking in the line formation into the back of Wiser Series. You can see it here. Wiser Series now being fully wiped out of this city, and that's just massive. Those stalwarts inside of the gate should have never been able to do that. I would have expected Wiser Series to just use one of the stalwarts against the one inside of the gate just to prevent any flanks to come in. And you said it, Robert is dealing with it, but they weren't. And you can see Amir and Gurk now hunting Sani, and oh my goodness, he will not survive for long. You can just see the shuriken throws from those two.
No, not
Sani
today. Oh, eventually he falls.
Sani. He was just
Sani.
making sure to get at least as many mortars down from that wall as possible.
I think he was inside a Joe Blade Sani, and if you understand Sani in the UK term, it just means sandwich. Just in case you don't understand the. But yeah, he was pretty much stuck between Gurk and Amia, and then eventually a few other players come to help because yeah, short swords they just got so much help and so much vulnerable to be using the iron sides, which kept him alive for so much longer. But as it seems on these trades, yeah, buddy, have the advantage in terms of both tier 5 and tier 4 units. So they are looking very much favorable to go on and hold a defense pretty strongly. And obviously, there's only been one way of action onto the walls, and that was that far left siege tower. They are starting to make the other siege tower push towards that wall. So at least they've got a quicker entrance onto that wall. But the way it's going at this moment in time. We're down to 5 minutes and 56 seconds. Not even touched really in this grand scheme of things. So it's a very difficult task here from YSO Series to try and get some momentum on towards A and even make sure they can capture it because they've had to deal with supply points in their own back. They've got to deal with heroes on the flank. They've just been dealing with so much more that they don't actually put out their self on defense.
Yeah, and you can just see, yeah, buddy, very aggressive with the heroes as well was the series. But unit-wise, yeah, buddy, they are staying away from that point. They are staying away from the mortars from Wiser Series. But I can't really see too many mortars yet from Wiser Series as they are moving down immediately. They have the Falconetti in front of the gate, protected by some, I think, green Retin round shields. But the rest is just going to the point, and I just love to see it. Why is the series now trying to get some control gameplay here going with the Falconetti, just always dealing damage, while the rest of the heroes and the units will try to capture the point. You can see some hero deathmatch on the point, nobody dying yet, but it will be just a matter of seconds if this is going on like that. And you can see why the series, they have brought a ton of grape shots, and they are using them right now. Also some mortars in there, stalwarts will be knocked over, and that seems great for Wiser Series. They are going in, but here is Yeah Buddy.
Yeah, buddy, on the flank, coming from the other side here, trying to deal with any of these pinches. But the Falconets from that gateway are doing some great work. There was Ayoku up on top with the musket looking to try and deal some damage to them down below. I don't know if he's managed to do so, but as this battle comes in, there's a wee flank coming in from Ripcap's unit of cavalry. Doesn't manage to do too much damage in the grand scheme of things. And yeah, buddy, once again, seem to be on top inside this battle, inside the city walls. And there you go, another cavalry charge. Yanidel comes in. That'll be Derevni's unit. Absolutely wiped out. Heroes also fallen once again, down to only 9 heroes left alive. Sani and one other Joe Blade there. I know. Not Joe Blade, Mass Flames there trying to deal with the supply point to distract them, but it doesn't matter. Nonetheless, they've got hold of that, and now they're going to try and pick off even more heroes. No mercy will fall, and now you're going to see Sani in another sticky situation where he's having to deal with the Joe Blade of Amia plus Kinji's Social Hippie and Babylon. Who gets the kill here? It is going to be nobody yet. There's another added member. They're just all chasing him down eventually. Sane will fall, and Keen Jade, your glaive will get the kill. But yeah, Waxo Series are down to only 551 units, and lives again are going to be a massive difference in comparison to what Yeah Buddy have, because they still have 13 left remaining in that fight. Pull up the units. Yeah, look at that. That is a phenomenal amount of difference in that defense. Take away that 173 later on, and you're really down in numbers in the grand scheme of things of overall quality here going into their final push, because we've got 2 minutes and 55 seconds to push towards A, and they need to cap this, or else that will be 2-0 to Yeah Buddy.
Oh yes, and you can see why the series now trying to once again go towards that one breach they've opened already. We can see hero-wise, still heroes seem to be all alive on the side of Wiser Series. There we go. Nobody completely died yet. Same on the side of Yeah Buddy. And with that one, it will be one more 15 versus 15. I only see 14 versus 13 on top right now. One Musket is being chased by a short sword down the stairs. Might be in quite some trouble because the escape ability is already out. Ayoko, usually one of those players who are really strong with their class. And you can see him get away from that fight and now heal up. Very lucky escape, that one.
Yeah, definitely a very lucky escape. But we're down to 2 minutes left, and you've got two ways of action here from YSO Series. You're coming from that supply point in the back. You've got the stairwell push. You're trying to put Yeah Buddy inside a pinch. But Yeah Buddy aren't going to force everybody down that middle zone. They're going to make sure that they're staying towards that supply point side. You've got a unit over to the breach here as well, which is still well and truly secured, so they don't have to worry about anybody coming from that direction. But now, Yeah Buddy are being the aggressors on this defense. They're taking it straight towards that stairwell so they can quickly win that battle and turn around into the back. Ripcat's charge comes in from the side, does deal some good damage, but the phalanx units of Dunkos is keeping sure that the rest of the cavalry that's trying to come in will be dealt with. Counter charge across the point. 1 minute 20 seconds left on the clock. Why so serious? Are down in heroes once again, down to only 9. No Mercy and Natural Fall. Cursefly falls right afterwards. But there's a trade back towards ups. Can we find any more wins here for the Why So Serious side, or are the heroes that are just inside there going to find their inevitable death? Nutella, the only one left alive on A, will just fall towards Girk. 56 seconds, counting down the time. Yeah, buddy, looking to secure this battle. You're seeing Why So Serious players leaving the battle now. That pretty much wraps it up here. 2-0 to Yeah Buddy going into it. This is just how the cookie crumbles for Why So Serious. I'm afraid their actions are not enough, and they were going to see this third map on the same map where they have to try and deal with a defensive side again where Yeah buddy, we're so good on already, although the trades in units were a lot closer than they were in this battle for sure.
Oh yes, and we have just seen one unit of the Retin Vipers on top of the stairs supporting Yabadi with just shooting at every single enemy, and they are just like the Retin Pikemen, but from far away, a bit less tanky than the Retin Pikemen, but therefore they're just reducing the damage any enemy does that's getting hit by them. And they, with the new mastery, just I think Thursday it got introduced, they can now also spread on a poison field their poison, and with that one just reducing a ton of damage. I'm not sure, to be honest, if that field is reducing damage or just direct hits, but in the end just reducing a ton of damage and dealing a ton of damage. I think I get in seconds a few million damage, or maybe in minutes, not seconds, but yeah, they are just
Million?
dealing amazing
Oh my.
amounts of damage.
I'd love to be dealing 1 million damage a second. That would be phenomenal. But Ribcatch was dealing quite some considerable damage throughout that whole battle. Look at the damage he's done by units. That is quite considerable. But to heroes, he does a lot of work. 7 hero kills along the way, 176 unit kills as well. Leader in the pack for both attack and for both of them score lines, attacking heroes and units. Phenomenal job from him once again. Push Idol gets 120 unit kills, the closest one to even reaching Ripcat's numbers there. And the hero kills, nobody really getting that much from Why So Serious. But on the other side, Yeah Buddy, Clapper Dragon was definitely clapping some kids there on the battlefield. 17 assists as well. He was in every single battle pretty much that had even happened, making sure he's involved where he can. 86 unit kills. 118 to Girk for unit kills, 5 kills apiece from Girk and Amya. That's a total of 10, which is a good, phenomenal. If you think about it, there's only 15 players in that battle. You get 10 of them between the two of you. That is quite an exceptional job in the whole scheme of things, which isn't too bad for a dual blade assassin duo, who are probably the best two in the job at this point in time. And overall, yeah, 148 kills for Barbar as well. Somebody in chat says Barbar minus one. Let me say Barbar plus one. He is phenomenal here. But yeah, here we go. Going into it. Let's break it down again. Map number 2 is done. Yeah, buddy, or 2-0 up.
Oh yeah, and you can see here already every single fight was going into the favor of Yeah Buddy. The first one a bit more in the favor of Yeah Buddy than the last one, but the middle one was just absolutely there for Yeah Buddy, just wiping the floor with the players and units of Wiser Series. And I think one of the biggest problems for Wiser Series was the lack of anti-cav. In their second push, they got wiped by I think 4 or 5 units of cavalry. And the stalwarts are great in anti-cav purposes, but bringing one unit of phalanx, you have seen it in the end from Dunkel, and I can't really remember who the second one was with the phalanx. That just saved them the day there against the cavalry flanks, and with that one, probably also the unit trade here in the second fight, because it was really close there, but the phalanx just dealing with the flanks, and that's just a massive job, and you have to bring at least one phalanx when available.
Yeah, exactly that. They were doing some great work. And when your last resort is the cavalry coming in from the flank looking for the opportunities, and you've got that one unit phalanx in the back, Dunkel was ready and waiting for them and managed to secure that win on the defense. Now you've got a chance to go on again, and it could be that your buddy are defending back to back here. Well, making sure, but I'm not 100% sure of that. But we're going obviously to the same map, so either way, whether it is attack or defense for Why So Serious, either one of these, they have to find a win here, or else they're going to be losing this one pretty quickly in comparison to the last two matches against the same opposition. 3 times against Yeah Buddy and 3 losses is never going to be a great stat to have, but you're playing against one of the best teams in the CBL. So I mean, it's not really too much. That's the only team really they have lost to in the whole series. But for Why So Serious, yeah, you want to get a bit of momentum, get a win on your back, and try and see if you can take it to that grasslands again. But we'll just have to wait and see going into this. Do you feel like Why So Serious are going to be able to hold off after seeing how their attack and defense have both failed so far?
I mean, they have to. It is going to Met Point and Western Championship Point. And if they don't hold off Yeah Buddy in the defense, they will be out and no chance to come back from it. So I feel like right now the pressure is on. And if they can handle the pressure and don't make stupid mistakes, the first match was going fine. I think with maybe Nolhani not dying immediately in the beginning, we have seen him still having 33 stalwarts, but we have seen those stalwarts also previously. So I feel like he had probably 2 more units with the stalwarts and probably one after that one. So I think that was a pretty big loss for Wiser Series. And then maybe 1 or 2 better plays. That could easily be the win, at least in the defense for Wiser Series. And they have to win. So I will say they will win.
Yeah, backs against the wall, pressure on. We've seen them in this situation before. They were up, no, they were down 2-0 to Rough Justice. They came back and they won every single game. Can't say that that's going to be the case here up against you, buddy, but at least finding the first one and take it map at a time. First one here, again, we're going to be seeing the same map like we says. If they can win this one, maybe there's a chance to win the attack or defense the next time round and even take it to the grasslands at least. Last time we seen these two in grasslands was really interesting. It was one of the quickest games we've seen. A surprise to say the least, of how it kind of unfolded, which I'm sure if it does go that way as well, Wise will be wise to that one because they have it happening to them before. So they might actually be in a better standing if they manage to take it to game 5. So fingers crossed for Wise Series. They buck up their ideas, they find a strategy that works, and they manage to get a couple of map wins on their hand and take it to a game 5 once again here against Yeah Buddy, who they are the only team to have done it so far and the only team likely to do it still, because this is the last game here in the Western Championship. Whoever wins this one does go on to play against the best of the East. and it will be a nice, interesting masterclass between these two sides when it eventually comes to it. Who it's going to be, yeah, buddy, why so serious? We're still yet to find out. I'm sure, yeah, buddy, think that they're already secured in that situation with them being 2-0 up at this point.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, but a bit overconfident in that position. Maybe doing some too aggressive plays, and with that losing one or two numbers here and there, therefore giving Wiser Series the opportunity to come back to a 2-1 and then looking to the 2-2. I mean, when you are 2-0 down and you win one map, that's just a full mental reset. You are now in the position to tie things up, go to the grass. And so I think if Wiser Series takes this one, they will take also the next one after that and bring us to a grasslands. So yeah, but if they don't want to go to grasslands, I would say they have to win now. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's hard to tell when it comes to grasslands, right? It is one of these ones that's a toss up for the most part. Yeah, but he's had a great strategy. They've only managed to be there and have a deal with Wiser Series once. This last time in a best of 5. The other time was in a best of 3, where they've managed to come out in grasslands both times against the Wiser Series. So Wiser Series have came up against but he twice and it lost twice. I mean, it's a difficult task if you're Wiser Series, no matter what, but they've got more maps of grasslands because they went to Rough Justice swim map, one of them as well. So they've got a little bit more time on their hands with it, but doesn't necessarily mean that YSOCs have the strategies because so far they've only won one out of their 3 that they've played. So I feel like but they still have that upper hand going into this one, even going into the grasslands if it goes the distance. So we'll see. Momentum shift though could be a massive change and could put pressure onto buddy. We'll just have to wait and see if YSOCs can find the map wins. That's what they need first. That's more important, right? Going into this next map, think about it as a 0-0. Don't think about, right, if we're out, we're out, because it's a negative mentality. You don't want to have that going into the game. You want to just be thinking, right, positive. What can we do better? What can we do differently here? And how are we going to attack and find the strategy to break down the buddy side? And that's what's going to change things. Having a positive mentality is always better. Going in negative and think about it, you'll start making mistakes, and mistakes were already being made prior to it. So you go in even more negative, there's more mistakes going to be made.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, everyone who played competitive will be able to relate to this one. Everybody knows how important the mindset is. And why so serious? Will they have the right mindset for this match or will they not have it? We will find out in a few seconds, as I think both teams are ready, and we will be heading into the unit selection in a few seconds. But until then, oh, or not, we are already in there. Oh my goodness, I just predicted that one quite
Yeah,
well.
that's one of these ones where if you complain enough, the game will start and it will get going. And there we go. We're into it. Once again, our third time of asking at White Elk Fort. And it is going to be, buddy, in control, 2-0 up. They're taking this defense. So it's back to back defenses here. And we just seen how well they did it the first time round. Why so serious? Have they got a different strategy going forward with this one? Falconetti Gunners once again are being brought out. Cycling Militia, and you're going to see some Iron Reapers and also, obviously, Stalwarts being brought to that battle.
Oh yes, and I still don't see the anti-cav for Why so serious. They are going with only stalwarts in anti-cav and one unit of failings. That's it. They once again have the Chevaliers with them. They have 2 sets of Falconettis. I liked them before. They have really worked out for them. And then on the other side, yeah, buddy, in their defense, they are just playing a ton of Yanyu Daos. I think 5 sets of Yanyu Daos. That's amazing. And one thing we have to remember, we have now the map pick of Buddy. So Buddy is defending once again.
the pick of both sides, yeah. There we go. Got back to us for a beautiful starting time there before we get into this battle. Thank you, production. Could have been catching me picking my nose. Thankfully, we weren't. I would have been disrespectful to everybody, but I mean, I'm not doing that. We're going to get water, but we are no and truly left with water, keeping these vocals going, but also trying to see if it's going to go the distance because we might have to top up that water if this goes to more maps. And that is what we are wanting to see. And I'm sure you guys in chat want to see more Conqueror's Blade here. Yeah, buddy, now on map point. But why serious? I've got to find the breakthrough in this attack. Can't they do just that? Or is, buddy, going to hold off once again in a defense back to back here on White Elk?
Oh yes, and Yeah, buddy, are they going for a different strategy? I would love to see them just with a different strat because why is it serious? They know what has happened before. And I feel like, yeah, buddy, they are going for kind of a different strategy. They have a ton of stalwarts, of course. They have once again their failings, and I can see it. I think two sets of Cocos already. Why is it serious? On their side, they are mixing things up completely. They have destroyed or are about to destroy the right side breach because you can see the breach being red on the minimap, and they are using their traps for the artillery of the defense. And that artillery, you can see it here, yeah, buddy, also mixing things up. That artillery is going towards the traps.
Yep, map right side almost about to be, well, actually, I was going to say almost about to be destroyed, but not completely yet, surprisingly. But this, they've got multiple heroes over there, but they decided against that. This Treb's coming in onto this side of the wall where there's multiple culverins trying to deal with that siege tower. But I feel like that has not done so much damage considering I feel like all these siege towers are about to reach. And yeah, buddy, are not really bothered by that because this is the new strategy from Wise Osiris that they've changed it from their first attack, deciding to go a different course of action because it's very much needed to be completely different and not catch yourself again in a situation where they end up losing. Now, with all siege towers on the wall, multiple ways up onto this wall, multiple ways to get a foothold into the map, coming down different directions quicker than you were before. And you've dealt with quite a good amount of anti artillery here. And that trip might have just been an absolute waste and for no reason. I don't see why they bother too much about that Calvin because that's directing towards nothing unless they're looking to take out Trebs. But none of these Trebs seem to be
Beware.
dealt any damage. So,
At least two traps on that side got destroyed. Ton of artillery
no, they're
used
behind the
from
wall, aren't
Yabadi
they?
for
And
that
they're not
one.
just behind a tree, or is there still two of them gone?
That's
There's
one.
two there.
That's
Well, there's
one
one behind
there,
the other
and
tree.
two.
Oh, okay.
It should be. I think it should be four on that side, but not too sure.
Okay.
At least one on the hill has got destroyed already.
Nothing too major then, grand scheme of things, I guess. But I guess it would still be able to do some damage to the other trap, and that's why they took it out. But as it deals damage and as it deals plenty of positional situationship, because yeah, buddy, have used that treb to their advantage a lot of times, and that's why yeah, buddy, we're like, we'll take them out because that's the ones that do hit us behind that defensive point of A, and that's why they've decided to try and take them out, I guess.
Oh yes, you can still see, yeah, buddy, being able to shoot on the last trap on that side, and I think that's a big mistake from YZ Series to let that one happen. The one cool range should be taken care of because that one trap on the left hand side is the only one that can hit behind the building on the right side of the A point. Otherwise, you will be left with only traps hitting into the building or in the front of the wall. And I think leaving that cauldron there where you could just easily destroy it when you send 5 heroes there, it
Look
feels
at
bad.
yeah,
But look at the
Am working.
speed.
It's a quick push, and actually, they're in a get a better position. There's the trap that we are saying that could be potentially devastating in the position it is called in. But there is one ball of flames that does come in and does hit the unit, but nothing major. But the Falconetti gunners will make sure that that defense units will get pushed away. I feel like they're in a better situation this time around. Why so serious? Will manage to get a little bit more of a foothold on towards A and have captured a lot more. But no, they're going to change their position in here. If you're yeah, buddy, we're quite far out. I don't know where all these units are going from. So I'm assuming that we're going to have flanks coming out eventually. They start to make that way. Just as A is almost captured, a very surprised defense, but they wait it till the very last second. Falconet is raining down supreme. The cavalry charge comes as units start to make their way forward. Yanyadel going straight into the middle of that gate. Can they deal with the damage to the stalwarts that's needed and then go back towards finding them Falconettis of mask flames because they have been doing some solid work on these units. Sani's dealing with his Aikila militia. He's going to be doing a good amount of work there, but it is once again why I see this heroes falling to the floor once again. The most of the part why yeah, buddy, are finding the trades and the wins on these individual heroes. Almost captured A though as well with only a few seconds to go. Triton decides to jump on, but there's a hero on that point to stop it, and he is going to be able to try and get out with his life if he can. stuck inside stalwarts, backflips, goes in through the gate, has to try and jump through multiple units, does eventually get to freedom and keep himself alive. Some good dodging ability and capability there. But the mass flames, Falconettis have been dealt with. You can see there is just one unit, one character remaining of that unit, and that will be them dealt with eventually. Yeah, buddy, still holding off with very few seconds needed left from Weiss to capture it this time round.
Oh yes, and I've said it before, I will say it once again. There is just too little anti-cav on the side of Wiser Series. We have seen those Yanudaos just do too much damage. They were just going straight into the gates, getting already some of the focus, I think. And then the infantry was just able to follow up. And also, the first human from the side of Yabadi just going straight through everything from Wiser Series because they were not able to be stopped before. And like that, you can already see Yabadi once again being the aggressor here in the defense, going up the stairs with the cylinders. They will be met by Wooby. I think the Wooby should have the better trade with them. There we can see two abilities used from the Wooby. Going down the stairs, once again, pretty aggressive there. And with that one, wiping out almost a full unit of cylinders, which is, I think, not the best trade from Yabadi here. And that's what we have mentioned before with the overconfidence from the defenders.
Yeah, sometimes a bit of overconfidence gets you stepping a little bit too further forward and then you get picked off. That hero did eventually fall to their death because Ripcat has dealt them tons of damage until he falls off the wall to their inevitable death and put them down to deficit in heroes. But at that point, but for the most part, I think the trades for Yeah Buddy are actually pretty decent. They're getting a Hawacha dealing some damage in the back. That's a mortar shot from outside. Who's outside? I'm guessing it is going to be Amia again on that right hand side supply point on the outskirts that we don't see just off to the right of our screen because he was dealing some shots with that. Yeah, there you go. He is in battle and he is trying to take a wee fight here. Amia once again up against Sani and Ripcat. So who's going to get the better of it? I feel like Amia has to try and get out of life, and he does manage to stay alive for a little bit longer. But Ripcat falls first out of Amia before Amia eventually does fall in trade back from Sani. And yeah, Amia just doing that work with the mortars again on the outskirts, dealing some damage with the units in the back. And not having to use their own artillery, which is a phenomenal strategy from Yabadi, and it seems to work every single time.
Yeah, and look at the Hawacha here once again, shooting in multiple times now already. And that's a default one. He was taking care of some Falconet. I think 3 are laying on the ground there. That 3 Falconet he dealt with by a default artillery, and the crossbowman from the Chevaliers were also dealt by with the Watcher launcher, and that's just so much value from one unit, from one piece of default artillery. You cannot let that one happen so easily.
No, definitely not. You don't want to be just taking damage for free here, and that's exactly what was happening. Hammy using cleverness, and they're going to see players going out through that gateway to try and go on the outskirts. Look at it. It's another dual blader. Guess what? It'll be Gurkha Amia once again to get that supply point outside. Now, with 4 minutes and 27 seconds, they start to make their way down. Why so serious now have a little bit of time that they have to capture here. Only heroes on the point, but there again, you've got units inside that gateway ready to pounce straight away and get the stop of that unit of Why so serious. There's also a chance to get the flanking if possible. If they've got units on the outskirts towards that supply point side, that's what we'll be looking for. Yanyadel, though, can't they do the destruction that they are doing best? And there we go. You do see it. Pustoy unit does get defeated, and he gets defeated along with a few other heroes going along the way. Why so serious are down in numbers once again, but they've managed to get a flank in from behind. Nacho on the point. Clapper Dragon stays alive there as a longsword, though. He'll keep sure that nothing gets onto that and starts taking that time because it's a few seconds that is all that Why so serious need. But the heroes are just falling once again. Sani, Natural, nobody inside the city walls. It's going to be Ripcats, who has got a unit who's just disappeared away at the longsword of Andro, being chased down once again. The final battle potentially might have just been done here with 3 minutes, 24 seconds left on the clock. Why so serious? They're only down to 5 heroes left alive, and it's up against 15 of what, yeah, buddy. And unit-wise, it's almost doubled up.
Oh yes, and once again, Synetics, Yan Yodao were just dealing so incredibly much damage. You have seen them just use the ability twice inside of the enemies, just one full charged ability and probably one not fully charged, but the first one, that has just done so much damage, and you will probably see it also in the post-battle analysis. The Yanyus just being incredibly strong, and once again, cavalry from the side of the defense going in here and taking out all the men-at-arms, it feels like, and that's just so painful. And once again, why the series? Why didn't they bring anti-cav if they realized the cavalry was just really hurting them?
Yeah, Yanyudo is just doing so much work for the Yeah Buddy side, and you just see it every single time they make the push. They were in a prepared position to catch them off guard, not realizing their units are inside, because every single unit in Hero was on top of that wall. Going to call in a trap though. That actually might deal some good damage, but they're already seeing it once again. Being spammed. It is not your day. As Derevny is fighting out with Synatic, but he's going to stay alive and he's going to be able to get back. The units will get off of that wall because it is in a treble spot, but with the time in red, it is going to be a very difficult task now for YSO Series to try and force their way down on towards A. Like I said, it is literally 2 seconds, potentially 3 seconds needed to capture A and give them added time towards home. But yes, Buddy are just looking too good for it. Defending like their life depends on it. At this point in time, they're 2-0 up. They're away to take this series here, and they're only a minute away from doing so. Well, a minute and a half, because after this fight is done, there'll be about 30 seconds left if you're lucky. But once again, Kursando first to fall in this battle. Atomic and Nutella will follow next up. All of a sudden, you're down to only 10 lives remaining here from Why So Serious. Unit-wise, just dwindling once again. Not got any good quality, but they managed to get a little bit of capture there for a tiny little bit. Ribcats, can he get a wee sneak onto that point? Java Mill, the only short sword there, but Atomic Jan comes to support it. Ayoku there as well, realizes the danger. Robert coming in with his men at arms though, but there's just too many units here of Yeah Buddy. 58 seconds. It's going to be a hero fight now just for Why So Serious to try and clear the zone, but that is not going to work out. Ripcats left, the only player left alive for just a few seconds. Does he escape with his life again? I feel like he does just for a second until Kinja decides, right, that's it, over with. 40 seconds left. Game, set, match. No units, no heroes. One hero left alive is on that back supply point with a little rat and pikeman, but they're not going to do anything in this battle. They're going to be meeting instantaneously with Assad of Babylon chasing mass claims down. The unit will get wiped quickly, and mass claims are just going to be like, right, okay, we'll just get some numbers here, try and deal with the stalwarts, but you'll see them fall to the floor as quickly as this battle started. The cavalry charge comes in. 10 more seconds left. Ladies and gentlemen, they're your EU champions, but they're also your Western champions. Yeah, buddy, take it in the best fashion we've seen so far against Why So Serious. A 3-0 on the cards and picking the same map for 3 times on a row. I don't think was ever going to be a good scenario. If you lose 2, you're in a difficult standing. And yeah, buddy, had this map well and truly sorted out. MVP for Yeah Buddy goes to Sad of Babylon. 191 unit kills, almost that 200 point mark. You've got 4 hero kills as well going to his name. And productions fell asleep that he's forgetting to click onto us. Come on, let's chop, chop, chop. Production, let's show these stats off. There we go. Synetic in 5 hero kills, 159 kills, not so far behind. Got Barbar with 6 hero kills as well, and 95 unit kills. And then you've got 2 Lazy with 115 unit kills. So he wasn't lazy whatsoever in this matchup. Going over to YSO Series' side, though, you have Natural getting 178 unit kills, and you could just see the difference between him and the rest of his team, almost doubling up on the closest rival in the team. And Ripcats gets 96. You've got Robert with 93 once again. Mass Flames with 4 hero kills. He gets the most on his side, but very few and far between when it comes to hero kills. This time round, post battle analysis for the final time. Alpha, take it away.
Oh yeah, we can see here Wiso Series just first fight, double amount of unit deaths, and then second fight, just the same picture but a bit less losses than only the last fight. They were able to not lose the twice the units lost from Yeah Buddy, but they still lost more, and you cannot win like this one. You have seen Synetic with 160 unit kills, and also Assad of Babylon getting almost 200 and 122 stalwarts. That's 3 sets of stalwarts completely wiped, and I would assume he was one of the players using the Yan Yudao, so Yeah. Getting maybe in some more anti-cav voices series would be probably helpful there.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. But what, ladies and gents, what can I say? It is just an absolute masterclass from Dunko and his side. Yeah, buddy, just securing victory in the best fashion you could possibly do it. Yes, it was the same map over and over and over again, but it means we don't see a grasslands once again for a final one. I'm really close up and personal to my mic there, and I'm very close to the camera, but I was so hyped for the end there. And yeah, buddy, just showing why they are number one in CBL EU region, and also why they're looking to try and continue that trend and see what they could do here. Now that they're Western champions, they will be coming up against the East at some point very soon. And it's dependent if they can go on and be your overall CBL grand champions. I mean, with a performance like that, Alpha, they're looking good.
Oh yes, they do. And I think I'm not really sure against who they will play. I think against the best from the eastern side, which would be CT, and I've also seen matches from them on Thursday, I think, and they were also looking very strong, and that will also be a match to watch. So stay tuned. Check out the notifications so you will know when to click onto the Congress Blade Devs channel. And that's it from me. Congrats to your buddy for winning the Western Championship. And yeah,
Yeah.
up to you,
Exactly
Mark.
that is a fantastic way to end it. Well done, Alpha, and thank you very much, chat, everybody, for coming along and watching this grand finals here in the Western Championship, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, buddy, are still in that number one spot, and they're looking to stay that way as we go forward against the East. Who comes out on top? We'll have to wait and see, but keep the notifications there. We'll be live very shortly with these battles when they do eventually get announced. But thank you for joining, and we will see you next time. Thank you again.